Hi, Jordan and Taylor.
Hi,
Hello.
Kelly.
Hey, thanks for being here. I'm excited to have Jordan and Taylor with us today, two of our YPs on our leadership committee who have shared with me some of their story about working from home. And I think what you both bring to the table in terms of your experience, other people can identify with and relate to for their experience. So, Taylor, if you want to just introduce yourself in 40 seconds or less.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Nervo, and I have lived in Stark County my entire life. I grew up in Louisville, Ohio. I went to Mount Union University as my college, and then I'm working at Employers Health. I'm a client solutions executive there. Our company pretty much works with different HR teams of various companies across the country and focus on pharmacy benefits. So definitely an interesting field to be in during this time. But I've grown up in this county my whole life, so I'm glad to be a part of the YP leadership committee and be involved with other young professionals.
Awesome, thanks.
Mhm.
Jordan, if you want to just give a quick introduction on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I am Jordan Knapp. I grew up in Marlboro, Ohio, and went to Marlington High School, then to Walsh University to get my bachelor's in accounting. And then after that, I got a job in downtown Canton at Hall Kissner and Company. We're a kind of small to mid-sized accounting firm, about 20 accountants, add 5 or 6 admin staff to that. We provide pretty much all accounting services to nonprofits, businesses, and individuals in the Stark County area and surrounding areas. And other than that, I love to do what I can to get involved in the community, and I love being on the golf course with my friends.
Yes, of course. Can't forget golf, especially on a day
Yeah,
like today. It's
of
so nice
course.
out
Yeah.
there. Okay, so I wanted you two to come on here and talk actually at the same time because I think both of your stories are pretty interesting right now. This seems to be a time where everybody is working from home that may not be used to be working from home. And so, Taylor, can you share a little bit about your story? What's changed in your industry, and then in your day to day job responsibilities for this working from home, and how that's sort of affected it?
Yeah, definitely. So, my company is under 50 employees, so we're also fairly small as well. We do have some employees that are remote. Some of our sales individuals are all over. So, we do sometimes deal with some of those conference calling and different things like that for meeting. But in general, I'm in our Canton office, and that is where the majority of our employees reside. So, we are used to having a very small knit team, and we deal with a lot of in person meetings. And then my job itself with clients, I usually fly places and meet different people, or I'll drive to different companies and visit them in person. That's a huge part of my client solutions job. Personally, I've had to deal a lot with just dealing with, okay, now I can't see these people in person anymore during this time. So a lot more webinars, a lot more WebEx conferences, and trying to go through the day to day stuff with them like I would in person via a webinar or phone even. And it is a little difficult, but thankfully with the nature of my job, I am able to do most everything at home, which I didn't realize was really a thing because we were so involved with doing things in person that we were all kind of forced to at our company to work from home and just be a lot more connected. But we are able to accommodate by having more regular meetings within our teams and within our whole staff as a whole. We try to do at least weekly or biweekly calls, a little more frequently than normal, to try and keep everyone in the loop. And it's nice to have video chats and see everyone's faces because I'm so used to seeing them in the office and I don't get to right now. So it's definitely been a change, but at least I feel like our company has been able to adapt pretty quickly to it, and be able to keep everyone in the loop.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Some of the people that you've actually talked to more now
Yeah,
that this is, our situation with virtual and webinars and things like that.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Jordan, I know you shared that working from home was not something that anybody at your office had done. What has changed with your industry?
Yeah. So I think it was 2 Mondays ago now. We were all in the office, and they called kind of an all staff meeting in the hallway. Of course, keeping our social distancing.
Mhm.
Everyone was 6 feet apart in the hallway, spread out. And we were kind of just told to start working from home then. Our partner group had kind of saw a trend with local firms and some other firms that they're in touch with that they were kind of going to the at home working. We kind of wanted to stay ahead of the curve, so we did the same at that time. And really, everything we do is cloud based, so I can log on and use our softwares and everything that as I would in the office, pretty much anywhere. So in terms of that, the transition wasn't too bad. I mean, we have virtual file cabinets and everything that we scan all of our documents into. So
Mhm.
working from home, the transition wasn't awful. I don't think many people had that too much of problems. I would say communication is was my biggest struggle at the beginning. Our firm uses Microsoft Teams,
Yeah.
so we've used that to stay in touch. I mean, as you said, I've talked to different people as I don't usually talk to on Teams a lot more now because I can't just. I'm the type of person, if I had a problem or needed to work through something, I always get up from my desk and walk to that person's office because it's much easier to work through things, solve problems that way. So it's a little more challenging to do that over Teams. So I've had a lot of phone calls and FaceTimes, which has worked just fine. And then, as Taylor said, we've kind of moved to Zoom. We've done a lot of meetings on Zoom, just to kind of try to keep up with all the new things that are coming out with COVID and all the new regulations and the stimulus and everything like that. Because it's been a lot to keep up with.
Oh, yeah, I bet. It's
Yeah,
funny because the getting up from your desk and going to somebody else's desk helps break up your, sort of change pace
exactly.
a little bit. And so, are there things that you guys are finding that you're having to implement or do to sort of get those little breaks, whether it be mental or physical? Is it a walk or is it, maybe watching 30 minutes of a show or something like that?
Well, so yeah, I'm sitting right now. Like I'm sitting at my desk that I work in, and my bed is right here. So I literally get out of there and just come sit right here. So yeah, I try to definitely get up and move around a little bit because of that not being able to walk around. And I have a standing desk at work, so I
Oh,
mean, not being able to even stand and work is a struggle. So need to stretch out a little bit
yeah.
for sure.
Need to set your laptop up on a windowsill or something so that you
Yeah,
can still stand. Um,
yeah.
Taylor, do you think your job will actually possibly change moving forward once we're out of this period?
Um, I don't think it'll change fully because I do believe, at least my department, uh, we are one of our core values is to have that face-to-face client interaction because it is nice to kind of take a client out to lunch and have that more personal interaction instead of just always having a meeting. So I think that aspect will stay, but I do believe that now that we've been able to see that our whole company can work from home and accomplish some of the things that we didn't really think could be done at home and continue to do our jobs as best as we can and keep each other connected. I could see a possibility of maybe a more flexible work from home process in the future, or even just some other ways to have the webinars or the WebExes with each other to connect us all. I know before we never really did the video chats as much.
Yeah.
Usually, any team call was just over the phone. So I could even see possibly, if people like doing it, having something more like that to even with our sales team who are always remote
Yeah.
to get them even more involved with us and trying to use technology more to keep us connected. So I could definitely see that being used a lot more in our company.
Well, how many times has it happened where everybody's trying to schedule a team meeting face to face and there's always that one or two who can't make it. And so the scheduling process goes on
Yes.
and on. And now it's like, you know what? We're doing it anyways. Log in,
Yep.
remotely.
That
Yeah.
happens a lot with my
Yeah.
company because there's so many different parties that have to be involved in the meetings that sometimes scheduling can be a bear. So it's definitely is nice to maybe have more flexibility to make sure it works with everyone's schedules.
For sure. Jordan, one more thing about your work. You mentioned to me previously that you guys do have a lot of paperwork and paper trails. Do you think that there's the
Mhm.
possibility of incorporating more digital files moving forward, seeing how things are actually working well for you guys?
Of course, yeah. So the process so I a lot of what I've been doing during the quarantine here at home is just I've still been preparing corporate tax returns and then
Hmm.
sending it on to the review process. So in the office, that process was a little different than what it's changed to now. I would say because in the office I would prepare a return, print that whole return out, and then give that to the reviewer. Accountants are very particular, if no one has ever noticed. So we kind of like things how they've been in the past and don't like much change. So sometimes change has to be forced upon us, which this is kind of done.
Yeah.
So like I was saying in the office, I would give the return to the reviewer. He or she would make their tick marks on it, do what they need to do, give it back to me. Maybe some changes I would make them, print it again, give it back to them, and then it would go into processing. So now everything's been done on screen. I prepare on screen. On screen, the reviewer is reviewing on screen. So
Wow.
that's cutting out all of the printing of the returns. And I mean, we've been doing it for about 2 weeks now, and I think everything's been going smooth. So I really think, and as a firm, we've kind of always had this paperless initiative that we want to be as paperless as we can.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of helping expedite that process.
For sure. Okay, so before we wrap up, what is one thing that you're looking forward to once we can all kind of resume back to normal, or what will be the new normal?
Oh wow. Well, I'm definitely hoping that it happens at least by summer. Um,
Right?
I know because I'm a huge like I love outdoor concerts and things like that. Like that, I always try to go to many of them in the summer, especially. So I definitely know that is something that I haven't been able to buy tickets for things like I usually do during this time of year because I look forward to doing those with a lot of my friends and coworkers even during the summer. So I think that will be one of the very first things whenever we can do this is to start buying some concert tickets and try and get out there and be in the good weather with other people.
Fill up your schedule. How about you, Jordan?
Well, as I said at the beginning, I love to golf.
Of course.
And thankfully, throughout this whole thing, golf courses have been doing what they can to let people out, separate carts, kind of prolonging tee times in between a lot. So I've golfed maybe twice since this has started, but I'm really looking forward to being able to get out there and start golfing more.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing your experience. I think a lot of people can relate to having to adapt with their organization and their work schedule and everything. And I think both of your experiences are a good example of how that's happened. And then not only have you had to adapt, but might change things moving forward for the positive. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to share that with us, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
See
Kelly.
you later.
See ya.